Did I tell you about the Albanian Mob story?
I think we should leave that one alone.
Yeah,
I don't want to fucking talk about no Albanian.
They had a fake.
Are you fucking crazy?
Just kidding.
Bro,
You could have just said some other
Love you
background so
guys.
people would be
We
confused.
fuck with the Albanians.
I went into an Albanian. I went to see my buddy. He's like, I gotta drop some stuff off. He goes to pawn off stolen glasses. Anyways, he's just like, yo, come in, come in. As I'm walking through the door, he's like, this is the biggest Albanian mob in Canada, bro. I'm like, I have 1 foot in through the door of the grow up, and I'm just like, okay, because I'm Serbian. I love Albanians, but it's like Palestinian Israeli dynamics. You never know how someone's gonna react to like me being Serbian or like I don't care. I love Albanians, but like I walk through, I'm like, all right. It is what it is. Let's see what happens. Let's start the show. I walk in and there's just like a bunch of like fucking 50-year-old Balkan Albanian guys. Everybody's rolling up. They're blasting fucking Atlanta trap music. They're all foreign as fuck, old as fuck. And there's a few younger guys rolling up and they're doing dabs. And they're like, hey, brother, sit down, sit down. I'm like, hey, how you doing, bro? How you doing? And I sit down and they're like, hey, you want to try? You want to try? And this is how I know drug dealers are bullshit. And they don't know what they're selling.
Bullshit.
So basically, I sit down and they're like, hey, come here. You try this, you try this. I'm like, oh, smell. Break. I take the butt, I break. He's like, smell. I'm like, what is this? He's like, it's pink kush. I'm like, awesome, really good. I love it. Awesome, cool. He's like, you try? I'm like, not right now. He's like, come on, smoke. And I'm like, fuck. I take a hit. I'm like, fuck. This shit's strong. And then I'm like trying to play it cool. And then he's like, Clady, bring him other one. I'm like, how many strains do you have? He's like, we have 3 strains. And he's like, I was like, bring him here. He's like, I take the nug. He's like, break, smell. I'm like, I break it, I smell it. The guy has a mushroom medieval friar haircut. Like a mushroom bowl cut. He's like in his late 50s with a pot belly. And he's the boss. He's like, break.
Fucking sure he's the boss. Of course he is.
Smell. I'm like, okay, thank you. Oh, I'm like, this one's even stronger. What's this one called? He's like, pink kush, but a different one. I'm like, totally separate. Okay, sick, thank you. He's like, I have one more. Best one, brother. Best one. And I'm just like, okay, cool. He's like, Clay, bring him number one product. And they're like,
I love the sound of that guy. I love this.
And they're bringing like a box of weed. They give me a nugget, like, break, smell. I'm like, okay. And I break, I'm like, oh, this one's really different. Like, what's this one called? He's like, pink kush. Third kind. I'm like, so they're all called pink kush? He's like, yes, but they're all different strains. He's like, yes. I'm like, okay, he's like, I go bring white wine, Riesling, stolen from Germany. And then he like brings wine. I'm like, oh, cool, Riesling, a little bit more sour. He's like, I like this guy, he knows his wine. And I'm just like, hey. And they're like blasting Future.
I fuck with them, I love them.
In the background, it's like blasting. And I'm just like, do you guys even know what's going on? He's like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a filmmaker. He's like, you can do this music video? I'm like, yeah, man. I can shoot this for you. He's like, how much this costs? I'm like, that video is probably like 300 to 500K, but I can do that for like 15, 20. And he's like, you have card? I'm like, yeah. And I give him my card, and it was like a slow motion scene in a movie. And he takes the card, the boss man. He looks at my name, and right away you can tell I'm Serbian, right? And I'm like, I'm selling it. I'm like, I'm already here. I don't give a shit. It's all love anyways, right?
Yeah.
And I give him the card, and he's just like,
that you're like cut and worry.
He looks back up at me,
guaranteed.
shook, and he looks at me. He's like,
Serbian.
Yeah. I'm like, I tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, whatever you need, brother. You need videos? We're all brothers here. And he's like, and then we leave, right?
I don't understand why he's uncomfortable versus Nem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, what am I gonna fucking? You want to shoot me because I'm Serbian? I don't give a fuck. Shoot me, bro. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I think he's already over his head. He already liked you at that.
But you know what the funniest part is? I came back a year later and they remembered me. They're like, brother, with a belly out and a fucking wife. They're, brother, come here. You try, dab. I'm like, I don't dab, bro. Like, try, it's new, fresh.
Bro, you go hang out with gangsters. You gotta do their drugs, otherwise they're suspicious.
I took a puff of the weed. You know, in Balkan culture, you decline food. It's like a huge insult.
Disrespect, man. Yeah, you don't want to disrespect them.
Right now, eh?
See?
Yeah,
They always have
Albanians
been.
run New York.
Super heavy.
They have
right
always
now,
been.
like, super
Shout out Action Bronson.